Hello, and welcome to Paso del Norte Community Foundation's Facebook page for another live Q&A. I'm Mika Short, Vice President of Development, here today to talk to some leaders from MIMCO, a premier commercial real estate firm and a great community partner, about the ways in which they are helping to address the community's needs during COVID-19 through giving and other means. Today's guests are Andy Moreno, MIMCO's Vice President of Operations, and Bob Ayub, MIMCO's Chief Public Relations Officer. Thank you both for joining us, Andy and Bob. We encourage you to submit your questions early in the event discussion or in the comments below, and we will answer as many as possible during the live session. We encourage our viewers to log on to epcovid19.org. It is the El Paso Online COVID-19 Information Hub, which was created by our sister organization, the Paso del Norte Health Foundation, to provide the community with valuable resources to help get through the current global health crisis. There are links and other free sources for parents, students, businesses, mental health needs, and a lot more. You can also log on to our website, pdnfoundation.org, if you or your organization are looking for ways to give back to the community during this time. So MIMCO recently promoted an employee giving initiative to benefit the Paso del Norte Community Foundation's COVID-19 Response Fund. Employees generously contributed $3,500, and MIMCO matched their employees' giving. It was absolutely amazing. We're so appreciative. So we have Andy and Bob here today to talk to us a little bit more about that. So Andy and Bob, you guys can choose who you want to answer which questions. But the first question I have for you is, what challenges has COVID-19 presented for your business and your employees?
Well, first, it was providing safety for our employees and providing a safe work environment for our employees. And then beyond that, it was working with all our tenants and helping them address the issues that the COVID-19 was presenting to them and their businesses and being locked down. Andy, you can talk a little bit more about the event and the matching that we did in the office.
Yeah, but well, first, we'd like to thank you for having us. I think it's great for local companies to be involved and let their presence be known. And I think that's how the challenge is, strictly, as Bob stated, making sure our employees are safe first and then working with our tenants. We have over 1,800.
Okay, well, right now I think Andy and Bob have frozen for a bit, but they were talking about the impact that COVID-19 has had on their tenants and their employees, talking about the impact of paying rent for their commercial clients and kind of working through that with their clients. So we're hoping that we can get them back online pretty soon, but I don't see them there. So I was talking to Andy and Bob before we kicked off this Facebook Live event. And Andy was telling me about how he came up with the idea of doing their employee match through MIMCO. He's told me that his aunt works for the El Pasoans Fighting Hunger Food Bank, and that she sent out a message to all of her family, kind of showing the long lines of cars of families that were there receiving some of the food that was being distributed by the food bank. And at that time, he thought, well, there has to be something that we can do as employees. So he reached out to MIMCO leadership to run the idea by them of doing this employee giving initiative. And so with that, they were able to launch that employee giving effort to benefit the El Paso COVID-19 Response Fund.
Yeah, sorry about that. We had some power issue. I don't know what happened, but thank you for picking it up. And again, we're glad to be here and answer your questions. But the biggest challenge is really as a company with 1,800 tenants is reaching out to them and keeping them in business. The more we keep in business, the less devastating impact this pandemic will have within our community. So I'll let you ask.
How many of your tenants had to close their businesses for not being essential employees or essential businesses right now?
It appears that was probably between 40%. Most of them being haircutters, restaurants, bars, that kind of tenants that were not considered essential. The tenants like grocery stores, Dollar General, Family Dollar, those were all considered essential, most were allowed to stay open. So they were able to continue to work.
Well, Andy, when we lost you there for a bit, I kind of gave a little bit of the background of your aunt reaching out to you and kind of sharing with you the experience or her experience of working at the El Pasoans Fighting Hunger Food Bank, and that kind of compelled you to reach out to MEMCO leadership to engage the employees in a giving initiative. Wanted to just ask you to expand upon that and talk about, how the employees' response to the giving initiative and, MEMCO's leadership response to your idea.
Yes. So you're correct. My aunt works on the front line and sent a mass family text that we all get, and just brought it to my attention that, wow, these lines are not just a couple 100 feet long, but miles long. And I've been at MEMCO 12 years, and some of the greatest team building and the greatest experiences we've had as a company have been through our giving, through whether it be doing an event like Walk in Her Shoes with the YWCA, Make-A-Wish, or Down Syndrome Coalition, just fundraising and walk. So I brought it to Scott Walker and Shay Marcus's attention, and they were all for it. And Scott Walker specifically said, great idea. This is a great team building and more team building experience for like this, in this age where we had just been separated, not together. So everyone was all for it. We had an administrator here at MEMCO help put it together, send the email out, collect the funds, and she privately sent me an email stating that employees were very happy that we chose to take this on because they wanted to give. And so it was an opportunity that we're happy to take part in, and hopefully we'll continue this relationship moving forward.
You mentioned your involvement in like the YWCA's Walk a Mile in Her Shoes and, Make-A-Wish. MEMCO has traditionally been involved in a lot of community events and plays a supportive role in so many ways. So I wanted to ask you, what is MEMCO and what are MEMCO and the employees doing right now to get involved, given that community involvement is so different than it has been in the past, and kind of having to engage remotely, as opposed to attending events and interacting in that way?
Well, we're just having to figure it out. I mean, right now, everybody is just back to work yesterday. So this is the first full week we'll have everybody back in the office. As we are back in the office, we're evaluating what needs are out in the community and what our tenants are needing and trying to meet those needs. And so we're doing a lot of work with helping our tenants either with information on the PPP loans or working with them on their leases and their rents and helping them stay alive. I mean, a lot of our mom and pops are not really geared for being closed to business for 2 to 3 months at a time. It's very, very difficult for them. And so it's been something that we've had to really work hard on, and we've been working on. That's really my normal role, is more in acquisitions and dispositions. In the last 2 months, the only things I've been working on is rent programs and assisting tenants with either getting funding or getting their dealing with their own issues relative to their lease. It's been very challenging for everyone. It's a very challenging time.
Well, I think that your willingness to work with your tenants is reflective of MIMCO's giving spirit. You're trying to work through this hard time with your tenants and not being so, I guess, hard in terms of implementing your lease agreements and all of that. So
we've had the tenants, a lot of the tenants have been with us for 10, 15 years. And so, you know that they're going to be there and they'll work with you, and that they're going to try to be alive and continue to work. We just had to help them get through this, because we're pretty confident we're all going to get through it and it's going to be okay at the end. But we've got a road here that we've got to work on, and it's going to take probably another few months to work through it.
Yeah, and I think because you have such long-standing relationships with those tenants, some of your tenants may very well be some of those cars in the line at the food bank, just because they're not able to maintain their business level that they are accustomed to. So I think that probably makes it a little bit more personal for you and your employees in an employee giving initiative like the one you did. So that's great. One question I have, another one is, how and why did you decide to partner with the Paso del Norte Community Foundation on this?
Yeah, I could answer that. Shay Marcus really is involved in who we give money to, who we partner with, and she made the awesome suggestion, in my opinion, to partner with the pros that are getting the money to the people in most need. We're friends with employees at the PDN Community Foundation. You look at their board, we're very close to several of the board members, so it just made sense. And we continue, like I said, continue to support your foundation. And as we get through this pandemic, I'm sure we'll team up again. We look forward to it.
We have a long-standing relationship with your organization, starting back with my relationship with Myrna Decker. And so it's been a long-term relationship with an organization that's built the kind of trust and relationship that we have.
Well, we are very appreciative of your partnership with us. I can tell you the COVID-19 Response Fund was set up to help the most vulnerable in our community. And several of the grants that have been made through that fund have benefited not just the food bank, but also homeless shelters. And some grantees have been some organizations that actually do food delivery to seniors that may not, or that might be immunocompromised and not able to wait in line at a food bank. They could be very long and take quite some time. And there have also been some other grants that have been given out just to address impacts on COVID-19 in general. So like mental health funding, because it is an isolating time and difficult when people are out of work or not able to be running their businesses like they're used to. So I can tell you that the impact you and your employees have made is very significant. So I think, we're getting close to the end. So I wanted to ask a last question. So what advice do you have for other businesses and community members who would like to help?
Well, I'd say call Mika. That's my first thought, because we do not have the facilities or really the connections to make the donations that we feel will go in the best way. And so the result is we need to team up with the professionals who are in the business of taking care of the nonprofits. And that's what we've done. And we just feel like it's a very good way to do it and a very efficient way, because I think the way you operate is so efficient that it really makes our dollars go further.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Bob.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, I think the simple answer is be engaged, understand the impact this has had. For El Paso unemployment, we read these articles in March, unemployment rates below 4%. In a matter of a month, it shoots up to 15 to possibly 20%, 50,000 people out of a job. So I think we all went through the initial stages of the pandemic with panic, and now it's all be engaged, focus, see where the needs really are. And we're blessed, we're lucky, we're part of a strong company that is in position to help. So be engaged and help where you can. Kindness goes a long way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Before we got on this live Q&A, I was talking to Andy about impact. And I wanted to underscore that you don't have to just contribute financial resources. There are other ways to give back. You can volunteer. The food bank is looking for volunteers every day. There are ways to, if you don't want to leave your home, that you can make phone calls on behalf of the food bank or other organizations. Or like Andy said, you can just be kind. I mean, when you're out in a public place, wearing a face mask, helping people to feel at ease in a time that's so uncertain. So lots of ways that we can give back beyond just the financial gifts that we have seen that MEMCO has made and that we're so appreciative of. So I wanted to see if there are any questions that we may have on Facebook here. So I'm trying to pull it up so I can see.
If it's a curveball or a fastball, Bob will handle it.
I think you both have done really well answering questions today. But now I can't seem to find it. I had it open and now it's not there. So I don't know. Do you guys have any closing remarks that you guys would like to make on behalf of MEMCO?
No, just that MEMCO's always been committed to this community. This was our home base, and it stays our home base, even though that we are now in about 15 cities in Texas. El Paso is our home base, and really, this is just the place we like to be and the place we like to work. So we're very committed to the city. We have someday I'll share with you our donor board down in our lobby, because that has about, I think 200 organizations that we donated to, and many of them we donate to every year when they have their annual fundraisers. And it's our way of giving back to the community and staying engaged and connected to the community.
Well, on behalf of the Paso del Norte Community Foundation, I want to thank MEMCO for its leadership in our community and for the generous example that it sets for not only the business community, but for employees individually, following Andy's lead of seeing a need and taking it to leadership and presenting an idea and making, something that's very impactful come to fruition. So I think that this is a great story to share with our community, and I'm very grateful that you both were willing to participate today, just to spread the word and maybe inspire some viewers on today's Facebook Live event. So thank you both very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having us.
No, we're very grateful to you. And I think that is going to conclude our Facebook Live event for today. We're going to end right on time.